This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Well, good morning and welcome to the aforementioned Grow Omaha show. Jeff Beals here at your service from NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate Company. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing, dndmroofing.com. Well, this is the only show in the entire metro area that talks about the growth and development of your favorite metro area. And without any further ado, got to bring on my co-host. He's legendary because of all of the real estate deals he's done and the work that he's done for his many clients. And he's right here with us in the flesh, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Mr. Beals.
Well, good morning, and it's a great week.
Do you know what week this is of our show since we started?
No.
This is 932 weeks since January 10th, 2004.
How'd you figure that out?
A nice lady by the name of Siri told me.
Really? What you have it like programmed? Does she tell you every week?
No. Hey, Siri, how many weeks has it been since January 10th, 2004?
The way I said that, I said, how'd you figure that out? It reminds me of one of my favorite lines in A Christmas Story when the dad says, how the hell did you know that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've been with you a long time, and you've been with us, and we appreciate it.
Well, with that, we want to remind everyone to get your Nebraska Crossing Fast Cash app because it gets you a lot of money, really. I mean, all you have to do is just sign up for the Fast Cash app, and you put your credit card in there. Use that credit card every time you go to one of the 70 retailers, and then you'll get 15% cash back unless they're having one of those specials that they occasionally have where you get more than 15% back. I know I've been able to assemble quite a bit of free money using my Fast Cash app. And by the way, next week, Trenton and I will be live in person at the new Reebok store at Nebraska Crossing. Get a load of this. Reebok only opened 2 stores in the world in 2021, and ours here locally is one of them. And it'll open. It opens, I think, a couple days ahead of next Saturday, but we'll be there celebrating the grand opening.
I'm wearing my Untuckit shirt from the Nebraska Crossing Outlet Mall from Untuckit.
Very nice.
Your shirt's untucked, but
it is untucked.
But it was from another retailer that was there.
Yep, that's right. That's right. So, hey, well, let's go into the news. The news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage Company, where they know mortgages. They've known mortgages for 30 years, and they help you with all of the mortgages. Doesn't matter what kind, whether you're FHA, VA, or conventional, but Holly and her team really take the time to get to know their clients, coach them, guide them, try to find the best solution for them as they get that mortgage for refis or buying a new house. Either way, they take really good care of you. And you can find them online at eaglemortgagecompany.com or in person at 114th and Davenport. All right, first up on the news, CoStar always gives us some national real estate news. And when it comes to national real estate news this week, there was a big bomb that dropped, and that is CVS is going to close 900 stores nationwide.
And that's over the next 3 years, about 300 stores per year. But that 900 stores is a big chunk. I don't know how many stores they have, but obviously that's a big chunk. And it's an interesting difference between Walgreens and CVS, and I was looking for something yesterday, so I went to both of those stores on Center Street there and 132nd, and it's interesting how the CVS is, you can pretty much see everything in the store. The shelves are lower, it seems more sparse, and then Walgreens is just a different model.
I find it interesting because these 900 stores represent about 10% of its total inventory of stores, and this is a period of time where just on the face of things, I wouldn't predict that drugstores were having trouble because, people have had so much cash put in their pockets over the last couple of years with all of the stimulus stuff, and people have such healthcare needs, and there's a lot of consumerism going on. So I don't know, that one kind of raised my eyebrow.
Well, Walgreens is we haven't seen them here, but Walgreens is experimenting with I think it's more of 2,500 square foot or a much smaller footprint. Those are about 14 or 15,000 square feet, and then imagine just almost kind of like the USAY pharmacy that you see around Omaha, where it's a drive-through standalone building that doesn't have all the the other convenience items.
I would like to see Walgreens put some of those 2,500 square foot express stores in urban parts of Omaha. Like, how nice would it be to have an urban Walgreens right in downtown? I suppose there is one at 30th by Midtown Crossing, but a little further east in the heart of downtown.
Yeah, I sold that one. It was a real estate play for an investor.
But it stayed Walgreens.
Absolutely.
Well, Heartwood Preserve, the big multi-billion-dollar development west of Boys Town, has closed on the sale of 14 acres to Broadmoor Development Company. So that means this 500-acre mixed-use development has surpassed 70% sales mark for available property. So Applied Underwriters has been the company that is developing it, and they have sold out about 70% of the land there. Now, of course, far, far more than that remains to be developed, but it's making progress.
Yeah, Broadmoor's a great apartment developer, and they also develop some commercial properties, and those will be high-end apartments, and that land doesn't come cheap over there. But it'll be a great mix in that 500-acre plus development. Omaha
Performing Arts and Kiewit Building Group held a topping out ceremony this week for Steel House Omaha. That's, of course, the new $103 million live music venue that's going up on a previously undeveloped downtown parking lot. 11th, 12th, Dodge, and Capitol Avenue are the streets that border it. Topping out, of course, occurs when workers install the final piece of structural steel. To me, once they got started on that site, it seems like the steel went up awfully fast.
Yeah, they really worked hard, and that's such a great compliment to the Riverfront Park and even to the Holland Center. This will be a 2,500 to 3,000 person attendee venue with movable chairs and that kind of stuff. So real flexible.
I can't get over what it probably means to the Capital District, because when you drive Capitol Avenue right now, you just notice that it's just, well, of course, it's right across the street from the Capital District, but it's just right there. And you think about all the events that will likely take place at Steel House Omaha. If you were, the owner of Capital District or doing leasing there, you'd have to be pretty excited about that.
Well, I think they're getting, it's taken a while, but I think they've got some big restaurant announcements coming up. One high-end restaurant and one more sports-related type entertainment and restaurant venue that I promised I wouldn't break. So you got to listen here until we get the green light to talk about it.
So basically what he's saying is restaurants coming to Capital District can't say their name yet, and so you should hold tight and stay tuned.
Long time coming, but it's coming.
Okay. Folks, there are a lot of things that we wish we could announce, but we can't, because for some strange reason, people trust us. And I can't tell how many times people have said, hey, Jeff, I'll tell you this. You can't say it yet. Just keep it under your hat. You do realize we're media guys, right? But so far we've honored that.
Well, we've always teased out at the Outlet Mall when new things are coming. And then we said that there was a couple big ones coming, but
they still are.
Did you notice that one of them, though, has signs up?
Oh, really?
We said we can't talk about it yet, T?
Uh-huh. I might have to go out there and take a look before we do our live remote. So there's signs up for the one that we can't say yet?
There's signs up in the windows that say Yeti all over them.
Okay. Well, we can't say Yeti yet.
Okay.
At Nebraska Crossing. So
sorry, Rod.
That may or may not be one of the national retailers that's coming to Nebraska. Does it say coming soon, or is it just like say Yeti in the window?
It has a bunch of Yetis, so I assume it's Yeti's coming there, but we'll let Rod confirm that next week.
Well, maybe you just heard one of them that we weren't supposed to say for a long time, but we shall see. The big one that's way bigger than Yeti, though, we will still keep under our hat until we have true permission to announce that retailer. Fair?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's continue on with this week's news. World Herald had a nice feature talking about the inside of the new LinkedIn regional headquarters in the Sterling Ridge development southeast of 132nd and Pacific Street. And the article said that LinkedIn's Omaha workforce has grown from 602 years ago to 1,000 today and could grow to 1,200 within a year. Omaha is now LinkedIn's fourth largest concentration of employment in North America. Of course, it's a Silicon Valley-based company. I believe it's part of Microsoft. The two buildings are 5 stories each and feature many of the employee perks common to Silicon Valley office buildings. Trenton Deb Grave Morrison, who is our president at NAI NP Dodge, she and several other members of Commercial Real Estate Women took a tour of that building a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm jealous. That 200,000 square feet on 5 stories, 2 buildings with a crosswalk. The amenities in there are just huge. They've got chefs. They've got
she said there were
resting areas.
Yeah, like you could take a nap. There like an exercise room. There was. She said that if you leave your water glass, there's someone like a. She didn't use this word, but someone like a busboy who will come pick it up for you or something like that. I mean, if you're working for LinkedIn, there's no reason to work from home when you've got those kind of amenities.
And they call them neighborhoods. Like nobody has assigned offices, and you have computer terminals and things that you go work where you want to work in collaborative space and things like that. It's definitely a new way of doing things.
The outside of the building is also very attractive.
Well, then a certain amount, I think it's 13%. I forget what the percentage is, but in the parking lot you see these. They look like they're covering cars or something like that, but it's solar panels help powering the building.
Well, they probably also cover the cars, so maybe there's a dual purpose there, provide shade for the cars. At any rate, speaking of really cool Omaha offices, we had a feature in this week's newsletter. We provided a link to a video tour of Sojourn's offices near 120th and Dodge. Sojourn is a San Francisco travel marketing company that was started in Omaha and probably has half of its employees in Omaha. And they opened their Omaha office, a couple of years ago maybe? Something like that?
Their new office. They've been here a long time.
Yeah, but the new one they're in right now.
Right.
Maybe 2 years or less,
They used
probably.
to be out on Pacific Street, and they moved up to West Dodge Hills.
So if you want to see that, it's just like a minute or two. There's a link to it in our newsletter, which came out just this past Thursday. So if you want to see that, just go to growomaha.com, click the market report, look at the most recent newsletter, and scroll down a ways, and you can get that video tour of Sojourn. And while you're there, if you're not already part of it, sign up for that newsletter because it comes out every Thursday. We're up to almost 10,000 subscribers now. Since we launched in April, we've added about 4,000 new subscribers. People have signed up like crazy.
Yeah, thanks for opting in, everybody. I think it's really taken on a life of its own.
And then Orbit, Omaha Rapid Bus Transit, might be expanding. We've talked about in the past that they were looking at the 24th Street corridor. Well, we just found out this week that Metro Transit received a $1.6 million federal grant to study the 24th Street route that would stretch from Q Street in South Omaha all the way up to Ames Avenue in North Omaha. So the study will show us whether this is viable or not. But Trenton, I'll tell you what, even if it is not all that viable, the pro-development real estate guy in me hopes it happens.
It's a natural progression of Orbit.
I mean, because you look at what Orbit has already done for West Dodge Expressway and regular Dodge Street construction. It's crazy. All these projects are popping up in part because of Orbit. And of course, it doesn't also hurt that Dodge Street's the main corridor and all that. But let's just think about the collateral development that would happen along 24th Street if this thing happens.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the ridership as it grows.
Have you seen that old commercial federal building by the Med Center coming down? That thing is
iconic.
Yeah, it was iconic, but it is no more.
You used to stare out at it every day.
I know. For 7 years in the 90s, I worked at Clarkson College at 42nd and Dodge, and every time I'd be walking to my office, going down the hallway, I would stare right out at the clock tower, and I could see the time and the temperature. Sometimes it was good news. Sometimes it was bad news, depending on what time of year it was. But the temperature was always there.
That's the end of an era for that building to come down.
And that, my friends, is your news of the week, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, EagleMortgageCompany.com. They know mortgages. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, it's the Salvation Army kettle season, and we have with us Jeff Beckman from the Salvation Army. I know at NP Dodge, NAI NP Dodge, we had our bell ringing day last week, had a good time doing it despite the 50-mile-per-hour winds. We still did it, and we still had a great time, and I'm thinking we probably raised a substantial portion of the Salvation Army's annual budget that day. We got a lot. At any rate, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by NAI NP Dodge and D&M Roofing. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
This is Eric with D&M
You
Roofing.
got any Kleenexes over there, Raj?
I do.
It's amazing how much comes from
Storm and the insurance process.
Gracias.
how much you can generate in front of a high V.
Yeah.
Did you go to the bar afterwards?
I did, yeah.
Services like
Which one were you at?
132nd and Dodge. A little far west for you, but
analysis to potential damage.
That one's been there a while too.
Yeah.
It's like new one. By the way, that CVS thing, what I was thinking about, you ever been to CVS in other markets?
You know what Walgreens calls them?
Get that fixed.
What?
Commercial vacancy soon.
and apparently they're right.
You know what though? I've been in CVS's and some other markets. There's some really nasty ones out there. I think they're closing up a lot that they just don't see any
California
benefit.
stuff when people are robbing them.
I mean, to
Although they
read.
rob Walgreens too.
Do you anticipate Walgreens kind of following suit?
I don't know.
Online.
Like I said, this was a surprise to me, and maybe I haven't been following it closely enough. But I read the retail news that CoStar sends every day. I read the Wall Street Journal every day. This one kind of surprised me because, I mean, seriously, everyone has all this disposable income and aging population, and everyone's buying more prescriptions. Why on earth are they closing?
Yeah, but you know, when you
10%
think
of
you
their
got
stores?
9,000 stores,
You're saying they're overstored.
they could be overstored, and
Are people getting
like I
drugs
said,
at different delivery means?
That could be.
I mean,
that's-
we do
Drugs in the
express
mail.
trips, express scripts.
They come to you in
through
the
our
mail.
insurance plan. Yeah, so your doc calls them in, and 2 days later they arrive.
They're in your mail.
Yeah.
I used to do that.
I don't like it.
So what's your title at Subway Summit?
Executive Director Development?
yeah, I did mail because they forced me to, because the company started using, and CVS was the choice. Well, that was right before they started opening CVS's. We didn't have any in the market, so I had to do it by mail.
I had the mail too, Raj, for a while, and the thing I liked
I
about it
always
is
got it, but I didn't like it.
the only thing about me that I always wondered.
You guys.
I always wondered because I thought, okay, like sometimes I don't get the mail every day. And if it was 0 degrees or 102 degrees, is that bad for your prescriptions to sit in the
wondered
mailbox when it's 102 degrees?
I wonder that every time they're delivered. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, you're looking out for
Or
them.
0 degrees.
They send you a tracking thing. Now, last night before I shut the lights out, I saw where my doctor called in a Nasonex, which is the generic for allergies. And there's a snag now at Express Scripts, and they go, you know, your prescription is delayed because of, so I have to call them on Monday morning at an 800 number. And I don't know what it is, if they something got screwed up in the system, but
Yeah.
Well, it's fine when you're dealing maybe with an allergy medicine.
But
It's
what
an
if it's your-
inconvenience. What if it's your
Yeah.
blood pressure?
And
Yeah.
I wondered,
Which is what I
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they have a different, you know, like Express something or another where they handle certain prescriptions differently. I'm fortunate I don't have a lot of stuff.
There's some.
Or if you have a cold, like if you go in today and you have an infection, you need antibiotics, they'll call that into a Walgreens.
Yeah, because you don't want to wait
It's
2
the
days for
renewals,
the
yeah.
antibiotic. Yeah.
Yeah, they will do that.
Yeah.
And there are
Cut
some
back.
that
We
have to
record
be
all this, by the way.
refrigerated.
You do this part here?
Yeah. When you have the strep,
not too
strep
worried
throat
about
that
it.
is ripping your neck in half, you don't want to wait 2 days for the antibiotic.
Watching for the mail truck
Yeah.
down the street. I need it.
Oh.
Now. All right, here we go.
Senator Mike Maloney brought his usual blowtorch to our conversation about UNL, education funding, and a whole lot more. You can hear it on the podcast page at kfab.com.
And back to Grow Omaha, brought to you by NAI, NP Dodge, and D&M Roofing. Jeff and Trenton at your service. We have with us Jeff Beckman, who is with the Salvation Army here in Omaha. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Great to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, good to have you here. Like I said, at NAI NP Dodge, we had our bell ringing day last week. We had a blast doing it, did the whole day. It is the season. The red kettles are out there.
And we're excited about it. And NP Dodge Company, First National Bank of Omaha, FNBO, are helping us to underwrite some of our kettle activities this year. Meg and Nate Dodge are this year's campaign chairs, so we're off and running, and they're just doing a great job of leading this. What's exciting this year is they're adding a new kind of energy to the campaign, not only at the higher levels where we're really blessed to have, you know, very nice major gifts from corporations, individuals, and foundations that we receive, but in that grassroots kettle ringing, they are pretty amazing this year under their leadership, and we have a couple of big events planned.
Tell us about the big event. Is it December 3rd?
Yeah, it's a couple of weeks away on a Friday, December 3rd, and on that day we're going to have what we're calling our best kettle day ever here in Omaha. And we have to exceed about $71,000 at 130 kettle sites throughout the community. And they are offering, hang on, a $50,000 challenge match on December 3rd, which is amazing. We've never had that. It's those two entities, FNBO, NP Dodge Company, and then we have a board member who's also contributed towards that. So on that day, there's a lot of incentive to get out, and we need to get out because last year during COVID, we were close to $200,000 of a $600,000 kettle goal. That's the red kettle goal, not the overall campaign goal. We were short that much last year. So with Nate and Meg and these companies getting behind us, we think that we'll be able to make up some of that ground this year.
So is this open to the public? There's an event at 8701 Dodge on December 3rd.
You can stop by all day, and we'll be posting those hours probably within the next week or so. But you could stop by there anytime between early morning, and we'll announce the hours till about 6 o'clock. Drop off nickels, dimes, quarters, any amount. You can drop off your major gifts there. Some of our board members will be doing that, making their annual commitments, or we'll be at 130 different kettle sites. It's also Realtor Ring Day that day.
Realtor Ring Day. That sounds cool.
It is, and we're calling it Realtor Banker Ring Day because, of course, we've added FNBO this year. And as you gentlemen know, on Realtor Ring Day, we have an amazing turnout of real estate agents from all across the community that cover the kettles for us from, again, morning till evening usually.
So this would be a hot spot. You got the tree right across the street, right at 90th and Dodge.
Yeah, because when you're at NP Dodge headquarters, you have a clear shot at that beautiful tree of lights tree.
It's all coming together. And last Friday night, we had a wonderful event hosted by American National Bank up the hill where the tree is at 90th and Dodge. And then Meg and Nate hosted another reception down the hill, as we say, in the comfort inside where some of our people could watch it streamed down the street on big screens, and we had a really good time there as well. So it's a amazing year this year under their leadership.
So we're talking with Jeff Beckman from Salvation Army here in Omaha. And Jeff, what percentage of the Salvation Army's annual budget comes from the Tree of Lights or the Red Kettle campaigns?
Our budget is, I'll give you round numbers, roughly an operating budget of $20 million. We raise approximately $6 million in private funds every year here in Omaha, and the goal is $3.4 million. So you're the mathematicians. That's roughly half of our money comes in through the Tree of Lights campaign. And one of the things, even when I say we're raising money, I always like to clarify, it's not a thermometer, at 90th or 87th and Dodge that's important. Sometimes organizations do that, and they show how much money you need to raise. Our budget is based exclusively on the need for our programs and services. And we have close to $17 million worth of programs in Omaha that range from food and housing, behavioral health programs, youth development, anti-human traffic, seniors. We have elderly, seniors. We call it older adult services. I'm probably getting close to that now.
Yeah, the older we get, the more we do. The more we don't like that elderly word.
We do, and we've got multiple sites across the community. We have 37th and Cumming is our social services location. We have the Kroc Center in South Omaha. We have the North Core Community Center at 24th and Pratt. We're active on the Lake and campus in Council Bluffs. And by the way, we need to mention for your friends in Fremont, we're going to have that $50,000 challenge match going in Fremont at those kettle sites also on December 3rd.
Okay, so if someone wants to get involved, show up at NP Dodge, corporate headquarters, 8701 Dodge on December 3rd. And of course, every time you walk by one of those kettles, even if you can only put a little bit in, you're doing something special.
Absolutely. We actually have somebody kind of piloting a project this year, a couple of good friends of the Salvation Army. They're going to set up at the Peony Park Hy-Vee at 10 a.m. this Wednesday, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And their families are offering a really nice challenge match a challenge match at this one kettle site. And from 10 till noon, they're going to be there and encouraging their friends to come by. So that demonstrates that you can be creative in your approach. You said your company was out recently ringing. We find that people who set up next to our iconic red kettles, and they are iconic. They've been in movies and whatever for many, many years. It symbolizes the Christmas season. But we find if they get creative, if you have a cute child, cute grandchild, in my case,
Or not so cute. Just bring them out.
well, they're all cute if they're your grandchildren, right? Or your kids or whatever.
If
And
they're yours, yeah.
Some people even bring pets, so it's always.
I like
exciting.
the ones who sing. Now, we at NAI NP Dodge on Wednesday at the Hy-Vee at 132nd and Dodge chose not to sing, but that probably would have
That
been
probably
a
helped.
disincentive. But if you have a good voice.
I think that would be a good challenge. We won't sing if you give us enough money.
But I love the grassroots nature of it, Jeff, and people ought to bring change. Is it hard because people don't carry change as much as they used to, and cash and dollar bills?
Great question, Trenton. We actually have a QR code now that's on all of our signs all over the community. And I will, PayPal, Venmo, various means. You go by, you scan it, boom, it'll give you the options to donate right on the spot. But yes, people don't carry the change that they used to. People don't shop at the rates that they used to. Although I'll tell you, the retail the retail stores that have kettles in front of them here in Omaha have great traffic. It's just that overall we're seeing lesser traffic at most of our retail sites. So we rely upon promotions like this one at P&E Park, the promotion like the Dodges are offering, and the Lawrence and family also, I should mention, has been very much behind this at 87th and Dodge on December 3rd.
And Trenton, for high rollers like you that don't have a lot of change, there's nothing that says you can't put a 50 or 100 in there too.
That's true.
You can put checks in there or whatever, but we have had to be a little more creative. And when I mentioned that we have a $3.4 million campaign goal, and about 550 to 600,000 of that is from kettles. So that's roughly 15-20% of our revenue comes into those kettles. And the really cool thing about kettles is every nickel, dime, quarter dollar goes directly. I mean, it is in the kettle and it's shipped to our core sites. It's counted, it's deposited, and it stays there and goes into their program.
And it stays local, right?
It stays local, yes.
All right. Well, Jeff, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you to you and your colleagues. Our community wouldn't be what it is without the Salvation Army. So blessings to you and continued success.
Thank you, and thanks again for the invitation to come on here and talk about something that's pretty special this time of the year for the Salvation Army.
Truly our pleasure.
Thanks, Jeff.
Jeff Beckman from the Salvation Army. Going to take our middle of the show break, and when we come back, it's our commercial real estate development spotlight brought to you by Noddle Companies, and we're going to bring on Jay Noddle, who's going to share some things with us, so you don't want to miss any of that. You're listening to Grow Omaha News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You bet.
Thank you so much.
Usually I'm on my way to Lincoln when I'm listening to you guys on a Saturday morning, so good to be here and watch you guys do it. You guys are pros.
Thank you.
Roger's not bad either, and Jim and Gary in here.
You know, Roger keeps us in line.
You weekend.
The weekend guys are way more fun than the weekday guys.
They give you more time too. I mean, we get school in the morning.
Yeah, and the Good Morning Show, it's
Mornings,
quick.
yeah, it's more of a magazine.
Thanks, sir.
Good to see
Hey,
you.
Thanks a lot.
Jeff, and then you're going to have Todd send me a little snippet I can say during next week's show?
You bet.
Okay. All righty.
I might have sent it, but we'll make sure.
Okay, yeah, just like a little something. So,
Can I
okay.
Get out on my own.
It's a maze,
Are
but
you
good
going
luck.
to go back door or front door?
Do you guys want to
Yeah,
take a picture?
you go down front door. Now,
Oh, Jeff?
I haven't checked in a while.
You want to take a picture?
If the front door doesn't push open for you easily, Jeff?
I'm not going to put my arm around you since I
there's a
got
red button
the
at the
plague.
lower right, push it, and then it'll click open. It should open on its own, but if it doesn't, hit the button.
A stunning state-of-the-art structure. The
Looks
luxury
great.
provides benefits of a clean, dry, and environmentally friendly
Okay.
funnel.
Thanks, Emily.
Would you take one on here real quick if you have time?
Omaha.com to learn more.
Plenty of time. Middle of the show break is a long one.
Life.
Gives you guys time to get up.
Whatever you were searching for at 1:15 a.m. It's really none of our business.
Hey, thanks
Thanks,
again,
Emily.
guys. Yep, thanks, Jeff. Take care. We'll see you.
Great to see you.
Okay.
Good to see you too.
If we don't see you, happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas.
Stop by. He's gonna. He'll have a reception at 87th and Dodge, so stop by.
I should be able on the 3rd. I'm traveling that week, but I think I'll be back on the 3rd.
I'll let you guys
so.
know when that is.
Okay, so
Thanks.
maybe we'll see you there then. Okay.
All right. Good to see you. Yeah, take a quick left, right.
I think since Jay's gone,
There
I'll
you
make
go.
a lightning round muy pequeño.
Okay.
We want to get a lot of things we want to bring up to him. Okay, so I'll introduce him, and then I'm going to point to you, and you bring up 180th and Dodge.
Okay.
And then after that, I'm going to ask him about a couple things he said in the World Herald, and about the cross-laminated mass timber project.
Oh, timber buildings.
He mentioned that at the real estate thing that you went to.
Okay, yeah.
And then he also made some reference to legislative changes making condo development easier.
Yeah. Where'd you hear that?
It was the World Herald.
Okay.
Yeah, Cindy wrote an article about that thing
Yeah.
you guys were at, or he spoke.
Pizza and Kitchen is now open and
So Jay's on, right, Raj?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you haven't already, you must try our signature Detroit-style pizzas. The crispy
You got
caramelized cheese
headphones?
crust.
It's Patrick.
Detroit-style pizza is a
Yeah,
showstopper.
Patrick talking about the
Also features
backlot.
Classic favorites, fine
Good
burgers,
pizza.
fresh salads,
God,
pastas, and wraps. And on
Trent and I did
Sunday, Backlot Pizza and
we
Kitchen
did a
serves
Grow
lunch,
Omaha
dinner,
talk to
and
Metro Omaha
dinner.
Builders
Or take
Association
part in
on
specialty
Tuesday.
buffet.
Yeah.
More
And it was
information
at
on offers offered at Backlot Pizza and Kitchen.
Backlot
Visit
Pizza
backlotpizzaandkitchen.com.
ACX12
We'll see you
Theater.
soon.
You wouldn't know, it's 204th Street. But
You can go to the one in Exarban.
Well, I was gonna say,
the Detroit, they had the Detroit pizza there for lunch. That stuff is amazing.
really.
Pan pizza.
They make the cheese go to the edge, and then it kind of caramelizes, almost burns, doesn't burn, but kind of like
Yeah.
in that direction.
Crusty.
It's the most amazing. It's becoming my favorite pizza.
Really?
It is so good.
Now, Backlot has a place in Exarban.
Yeah,
with
with same
the
restaurant.
theater. Yeah.
Similar restaurant. They just have a newer one.
Yeah.
Theater's
They
unbelievable.
took part of the
Huge screen.
Yeah.
space and then also put the ice cream place.
Cold Stone.
Cold Stone,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it was kind of weird though, because we did our presentation in one of the theaters,
Oh, yeah?
and it was the first time I ever stood by my PowerPoint that was 4 stories tall. Because the screens are incredible out there. They're so tall. And so it was weird, like you look up and your PowerPoint that you create is like this ginormous thing that is like a 3.5 to 4 story building behind you. What's that?
Better be a good design then.
Yeah, it wasn't quite an Emily Fisher design, but for a Jeff Beals design, it wasn't too shabby.
The quality though is pretty good. The graphics are pretty good.
Yeah.
My mole has never been bigger.
Oh yeah, on that picture, mine was pretty big too. We should like go get them removed on the same day. You know, like friends who get their moles removed together, stay together.
I got plenty of them.
If we should go get surgery on the same day, you get that one off, I'll get this one
Steve
off.
Denenberg, plastic surgeon, should be proud.
Yeah, we should do that.
I do it.
2 friends getting their moles removed together at the same time.
Scott had a little something on his face.
Who did?
You know, like sarcoma. Scott.
Oh, and he got it off.
Sarcoma. He was walking around with this bandage on his face, and he says, "They said it was going to be about this, and it turned into."
It's always bigger than they tell you.
digging.
The thing is, you got to do
And
it.
you know what? It's healing. Actually, though, what's amazing, it's been like 2 weeks, and I almost can't see it.
See, you got to do it right around Christmas, because that's when you don't have a lot of business meetings. Because like, I couldn't go give a speech with like a 4x4 gauze pad on my face.
Well, and also that's when you've used up your deductible so that you can get it
Right.
cheaper. Everybody
I don't
does.
think I'm even close to mine. Mine's like $6,000 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't know what ours is, but I didn't get it.
Learn more at exergen.com.
Which I always say every year that I don't use it up, I'm like, well, I should be thankful.
Right.
That means that we were healthy.
I use about the same every year.
Yeah,
Every year.
Untuck it. Untucked.
Where's the Reebok store?
It is on the west side, not terribly far from Pyocracy and Local.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Go in that direction. So where's the Yeti store?
I think it's over by like Bose.
Oh, okay. I thought it might go. Who knows? Oh well. If we're in trouble, hopefully we'll go back to Rod.
All right.
Rod's in Utah today, so he's not listening.
Find us online at dnmroofing.com.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Maggot at your service. We're brought to you by NAI, NP Dodge, and D&M Roofing. Eric Obrumt and the team at D&M Roofing do such a good job with commercial and residential roofing projects and maintenance. Well, without any further ado, it's time for our commercial real estate development spotlight, brought to you by Noddle Companies, noddlecompanies.com. And we've got the name behind Noddle Companies with us today. Jay Noddle, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to hear your voice. How's everything going?
Everything's great. Getting ready for a nice Thanksgiving week.
Absolutely. There's a beautiful piece of ground on the southwest corner of 180th and West Dodge Road. Tell us about that.
Well, that is a beautiful piece of ground. It's about 25 acres. We have a new project we're just starting there called Block 180, which will be about 350,000 square feet of mixed use with local retail, some office space, and some residential. So it's a series of 2 to 5 story buildings that have these different uses in layers, sort of stacked one on top of each other. And we're getting ready to go through our final approval process with the city and hopefully break ground right around Memorial Day.
So, Jay, this complements what's around there. You've got West Dodge Hills, that huge apartment complex up there that Broadmoor Development has done over the years, which has a plethora of apartments. And then you've got some nice medium-rise office buildings that are already in existence. Then you've got some retail where First Watch is and some other restaurants, Foxy Sushi and other businesses there. How will this be different? How will this complement those projects?
Well, there's so much growth in that neighborhood, as you just mentioned. There's more office space coming, more daytime population, and there's a demand for more restaurants and different kinds of shopping than that which is available at Village Point, which, as we all know, is very, very successful. But there's room for more, and I think this project's going to set a vibe and set a tone that's a little bit different than anything that's been done in that part of the city, and that the idea is that this becomes, Block 180 becomes the neighborhood's backyard, much like Exarban Village. And so there'll be a collection of offerings that really create a destination, and we're really excited about it.
So when you say that are they vertically integrated 2 to 5 story buildings, are you saying that there'll be retail on the first floor and office above or residential above, or how will they be configured?
It's going to be some of both, Trenton. There will be retail on the first floor almost everywhere. And then in some cases, 1 or 2 floors of office space or residential on top of the retail. And then in certain cases, there'll be retail with office above that and residential above that, much like we've done in Exarban Village.
Will those be for lease or for sale for the multifamily?
The residential will be for lease, but it could be a situation where it'll be a longer-term lease, so that if someone wants something that's a little more custom, then we'll be in a position to offer that. But leases they certainly could be longer than a year. They could be 3-year leases for a residence like that.
We're talking with Jay Noddle, head of Noddle Companies, one of the top real estate development firms in the Midwest. Jay, shifting gears a little bit, you were quoted in a World Herald article based on some comments that you made at the Midwest Real Estate News meeting that was held in Omaha about a week or 2 ago. And one of the things you talked about was at the Builders District downtown, which your company is working on. You talked about plans to possibly construct a commercial structure made of cross-laminated mass timber. That caught my eye, and that sounded like something that was kind of interesting. I wouldn't mind knowing a little bit more about.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. It's really interesting. So there are a number of developers across the country that have built buildings out of timber. And it's a little bit misleading in that the entire building is timber, but the structure is timber as opposed to steel or concrete. And, that's much more environmentally friendly. Trees grow back. Once we take minerals out of the ground and create steel and have this huge carbon footprint, we really can't erase that. But if we use different materials, it has a different impact on the environment, on our planet. We think it's better. We think it's more responsible if it can be done, where it can be done. And so we've dug into this pretty well, and we're committed to using as much timber in this next building as we can. That building will be right to the south of the new Kiewit global headquarters on Mike Fahey Street. And we think it will be out of the ground about the same time as Block 180, sometime between Memorial Day and the 4th of July.
Is that multifamily or office or both? Or in retail? Okay.
So this first building is office, or this next building is office. It'll have, more likely than not, a food hall in it on the first floor, and then there'll be some condominiums coming out of the ground shortly after that as well, but across the street. And I don't know that that'll be a timber building yet.
Oh, okay, and that would be to the west, correct?
It would be to the north and to the west.
Okay. Has there ever been any talk about putting another building on the north side of the Kiewit parking garage, or is that still a ways down the road?
There is a plan for a multifamily building on the north side of the Kiewit garage.
Oh, nice.
And so we're kind of trying to time things up. As you know, there's so much activity in the marketplace, probably more than I can ever recall. And so one of the tricks is making sure that all these projects don't hit the market at the same time, but rather that they're staged. So we're planning on it, but we're just trying to time it up right now because there's things north of Cummings that are coming. Certainly in the old market, there's the Heinz project is getting closer and closer, and so we want to try to time it up so that we hit the market when there aren't 4 or 5 other new projects hitting at just the same time.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jay, it's beyond exciting talking about all these projects, and appreciate you taking a few minutes of your morning to share those with us.
Okay. Well, my pleasure, guys, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, too. We'll have you back on in a month or so.
Thanks, Jay.
Sounds great. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
That was Jay Noddle, President and CEO of Noddle Companies. You can find them online at noddlecompanies.com. Going to take our final break of the hour, and when we come back, we'll have our lightning round, and there are several things we want to hit during the lightning round, so stick with us. You're listening to Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid on Grow Omaha, brought to you by NAI, NP Dodge, and D&M Roofing. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Hi, this is Eric.
That's a busy man.
Boy, yeah, how does he keep up? Yeah, that's a lot.
Did he had a stroke, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He's doing good there.
Yeah. He's still himself. And it was a scary one for a while. Yeah, like he was close to being gone. Yeah, for a while there.
You know, was it hemorrhagic or ischemic?
That I don't know. Yeah, that I don't know.
I'm a bit of a connoisseur of strokes, so.
Yes, you are.
Did you have one?
Yeah,
14 years ago.
He's a survivor of stroke.
Wow.
Yeah. Didn't you say that was because your blood pressure got out of control and you didn't realize it?
Hemorrhagic.
Yeah.
Popped a vessel.
Not unserious.
It's the most deadly, but it's also the most recoverable.
Oh, okay. So it's basically if you survive it, you're probably going to be okay.
Yeah, but you're going to probably have less side effects.
But you might not survive it. Yeah.
There's about a 30% chance you won't.
Okay.
But
Thanks for the pictures.
if you do, you're going to use, the ischemic ones. One problem with those is those are caused by blockages. Those are the plaque ones.
Yeah. Aren't they more common?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're more common.
Yeah.
Privacy simplified.
SEI.
SEI. I had to say it that way because I have a little trouble with S's. I'm a little bit of a lisper, and I'm a little bit of a lisper, and so I had to start. When you start with an S sound with my voice, you have to overdo it, otherwise it blurs.
I understand.
So I had to go SEI.
All right, you guys are going to have about 6 minutes.
All right, how are we going to kill 6 minutes?
5, closer to 5.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan inviting you to join me for the Husker Online show this and every Friday night during the football season from 6 to 7 right here on Big Red Radio 1110 KFAB.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid sitting here in the KFAB Penthouse studio high above Underwood Avenue in beautiful downtown Dundee. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the Lightning Round, brought to you by Turner Construction. Turner Construction, biggest construction company in the world that behaves like a small town contractor. They can do it all, from the massive Sarpy County data center, which, by the way, phases 5 and 6, southwest corner there, are going up like crazy right now. And then they also do build-outs in retail centers and everything in between. So if you're thinking about doing a construction project, go with a firm that's been around for a while, that's got the resources and the know-how and the workforce to make sure they do an outstanding job delivering the finished product to you or your company. Also, I know a lot of people listen to this show are in the trades, and if you're looking for a good place to work, check them out. Treat their employees like gold. I talked to a lot of the Turner Construction personnel here in Omaha, and I'm not going to go around, trying to say that they never wipe the smile off their face or anything, but they're happy people, and they really enjoy their work. So Turner Construction, proud to be the Lightning Round sponsor. All right. We've talked in the past about the resurrection and reincarnation of Piccolo Pete's.
Yeah.
And it's no secret that I was a huge Piccolo Pete's fan. I grew up there.
I'll vouch for you.
I love that place. I miss it terribly. And now there was some message board, and someone was making fun of the plain drab sandwich bread they served. But I'm like, who cares? Everything else was so good, man. Anyway, I can't wait for it to open in Papillion. And the owner who is bringing it back, and it's going to be at First in Washington in downtown Papillion, is the grandson of the original Piccolo who opened it. But there was a picture on their Facebook page this week. He installed an indoor replica of the old Piccolo Pete sign.
I heard about that. That's awesome.
So it's getting closer. Another restaurant news item, Cumbia, has opened at 329 South 16th Street. This is in the former Himalayan Java space in the Limelight building, right on the 16th Street Mall. Restaurant sells South American street food. Your wife is Colombian, Trenton, and these people that own this are Colombian.
Well, everybody's been asking me about it, so I need to get down there and try it and verify it. So we'll get down there and give a full report.
Well, you've been to Colombia a handful of times,
Yes,
so you'll be able to tell if it's authentic or not.
Absolutely. I can tell from home whether it's authentic or not.
Yes, you can. I walked by it a few weeks ago before it opened and just kind of, put my hands up to the glass and looked in the window. Cool place. It's right, if you're trying to picture it, it's right north of the Mercury Bar
and the Orpheum.
And the Orpheum, and south of what used to be King Fong. The King Fong sign's still there.
Right.
But I don't think King Fong's there. But so it's in that area. And then we had this in our newsletter this week, but I wanted to mention it on the radio because I love this place. Rathskeller Beer House, or rather Beer Haus. Rathskeller Beer Haus, which is right by the Med Center at 45th and Farnham. Apparently, because so many buildings were being torn down around them, there was all this talk that they were closing, and they put out this social media post. They said, folks, we're not closing. We're fine. We're healthy. We're sticking around, which is good because I love German beers. And they've got all these German beers on tap, and a lot of them you have a hard time finding anywhere else in Omaha.
There's a great band that started at Westside High School in the 80s.
311?
No. I'm drawing. Well, the Lenoma Masters played there, and then I'm drawing a blank. But Ben Simpek, and I'm drawing a blank. I'll think of the band name.
I'm sure it was a hell of a band.
It was a hell of a band.
And I was at Westside in the 80s. I don't remember.
They played in our backyard.
Your backyard when you were a kid?
Yeah, when my parents let us have big parties, and so So we had it, and I'm going to get all kinds of you-know-what for it. But
meanwhile, your mom's listening right now, and she's like, you just told everyone that we allowed you to have big parties in the backyard.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Carolyn. Groundbreaking will take place November 18th, which was, 2 days ago, for a core bank branch at 114th and Highway 370 in Papillion. So, yes, they still build bank branches in this day and age. And Trenton, okay, so last week you brought up Crisp and Green. It's you're representing the local franchisee who's opening up a bunch of locations. And we talked about how the first one is in build-out right now at 80th and Dodge.
Yeah, it should open real soon.
And then you announced last week the second one will be at 204th and
south of Maple, 3021 North, 204th Street.
At any rate,
it'll be a few months.
We put that in the newsletter and on social media, and people are really excited about that restaurant. Broke a record here in Nebraska. We're shattering and smashing records. 1.9% unemployment last month. Lowest unemployment ever recorded by a state in the history of the United States of America.
I don't know if we want to brag about that or not, but it shows that people here like to work and we need more employees.
I'm going to brag about it because I think it's a good sign. Yes, it might hurt our recruitment efforts, but I'm going to brag about it because it's a good sign that we're healthy. Music's playing, which means that we're getting the shepherd's hook. Trenton, great week. Hope you enjoy the weekend. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing, NAI NP Dodge, and Turner Construction on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.